So I haven't always been barefoot. I have to be honest, I think always there's been a little bit of an interest at least. Even when I was in high school growing up in northern Wisconsin with frigid cold winters, I seem to remember trying to go outside barefoot, and I seem to remember going to parties in college in my sandals, even in the middle of winter. So it's always been a part of me. But it wasn't until my early 20s, I was in New Zealand and Australia, and I had a mentor. I was doing a study abroad program, and this guy, his name is Gary. He's from Tasmania, a pretty wild guy, and we'd be climbing over mountains on our hikes, and this guy would be doing it barefoot. Everything we were doing, whether it was climbing or hopping over rocks or walking through town, this guy was barefoot. And I saw that and it just intrigued me. And I thought, hey, if Gary can do this, then I have to be able to as well. So I started to take my shoes off and walk with Gary. And at first, maybe I'd only make it a half mile or a mile, but pretty quickly I was making it a little bit more and a little bit more. And that's what I did. I started off small and built it up and built it up. A few years later, I remember I was in Northport, New York, and there was a 10K, the Cow Harbor 10K, and I had never run a competitive 10K, that's 6 kilometers. I'm not really a competitive person, but I decided, hey, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna try to do it barefoot and see what happens. So I started out in the back of the pack thinking that I would be pretty slow with everybody else having shoes and wanting to take it easy. And I started out and I just found myself passing dozens and dozens and then hundreds and hundreds of people. And I finished the race in about 44 minutes, I think it was. It was the fastest that I've ever ran, really one of the fastest I've ever ran in my entire life, and it was barefoot. So what happened was I just found myself continuously exceeding what I thought that I could do with my body, and I found my body working naturally, and I found myself working within the boundaries that I had with my body, and I just grew into it. Now, a lot of people, they can understand walking barefoot, at the beach or maybe in a nice field or hiking in a, smooth place. But I go barefoot pretty much everywhere, even in the streets of New York or in the alleys. I'm generally always barefoot. Now, I put on shoes sometimes, of course, especially when I'm visiting colder climates, but generally, my goal is to try to be barefoot as much as I possibly can.